Number 12. Your bedtime ritual is destroying your sleep from the inside out. You brush your teeth, climb into bed, and immediately pick up your phone, just to check one thing, then another. That small glowing rectangle you're holding is emitting blue wavelength light that travels through your retina straight into the part of your brain that controls your sleep cycle. Your brain interprets it as daylight. Melatonin production drops. Your body thinks bedtime is optional. Studies found people who use phones before sleep take an average of an hour longer to fall asleep than those who don't, every single night. Number 11. Eating too fast. Your stomach is a terrible communicator. It takes a full 20 minutes for the stretch receptors lining your stomach wall to fire a fullness signal to your brain. 20 minutes, not 2, not 5. By the time your brain receives the message, most people have already eaten a third more food than they actually needed. You are not overeating because you are especially hungry. You are overeating because your body's internal messaging system runs on a 20-minute delay and you stopped waiting for the reply. The mechanics are straightforward. As food arrives, your stomach walls expand. Specialized stretch receptors in those walls detect the pressure and trigger hormones, leptin, cholecystokinin, that travel through your bloodstream to your hypothalamus to announce that you are full. This process cannot be rushed. Eating faster does not accelerate the signal. It just means you pack more in before the signal arrives. Competitive eaters understand this better than anyone. They have trained their bodies to override those signals entirely, consuming past fullness so routinely that the threshold stops registering as a warning. The rest of us are not doing it deliberately, but the outcome compounds the same way. Your stomach stretches further each time. The baseline for fullness creeps upward. What counted as a full meal 5 years ago does not register anymore. Scientists found that people who finish meals in under 10 minutes consistently consume significantly more calories than those who take over 20. Same food, same hunger, different pace, very different body over time. The correction sounds almost insultingly simple. Chew more, set your fork down between bites, stop eating while watching something. Your brain is not defective. Digestion was never designed for the pace you are running it at. Number 10. Rubbing your eyes. It feels like relief. That deep, satisfying pressure when you press the heels of your hands into your eyes after staring at a screen for 6 hours. Your eyes are exhausted, your hands are already there, and the friction feels like you are fixing something. You are not. The cornea, the transparent dome covering the front of your eye, is not built for repeated friction. Every time you rub, you are dragging bacteria, skin oils, and whatever has accumulated on your fingers across one of the most delicate membranes in your body. The condition that develops from years of habitual rubbing is called keratoconus. The cornea gradually thins and begins to bulge forward into a cone shape, distorting vision in ways that glasses and standard contact lenses cannot correct. Once it progresses far enough, surgery is the only path forward. Not a routine procedure, a corneal transplant. Think of your cornea as the original factory lens you were issued at birth. It was engineered to be looked through, not touched. Every rub is a small mechanical trauma. 1,000 small mechanical traumas spread across a decade become a structural problem your optometrist will eventually need to explain. The blood vessels near the surface of your eye are not rated for that kind of pressure either. Rubbing hard enough ruptures them, leaving visible red streaks across the white of your eye that can take days to fade. Most people blame bad sleep or allergies. Often it is those exact things, but not for the reason they think. Allergens trigger itching. Itching triggers rubbing. Rubbing irritates the cornea. Irritation triggers more itching. The loop is self-reinforcing, and the damage is cumulative and quiet. Use eye drops. Splash cold water on your face. Close your eyes for 30 seconds. The original lenses you were born with are the only ones you will ever have, and there is no upgrade path. Number 9, crossing your legs. It happens before you have made any conscious decision. You sit down, and one leg automatically goes over the other. That habitual adjustment is slowly compressing one of the more important nerves in your lower body. The peroneal nerve runs along the outside of your knee and controls sensation and movement through your lower leg, ankle, and foot. Cross your legs and you press directly into it. The pins and needles sensation when you finally stand up is not harmless background noise. That is your nerve reporting that it has been kinked for the past 40 minutes. Brief compression recovers. Repeated compression across years does not recover fully. The clinical result is called peroneal nerve palsy, persistent numbness, impaired ankle strength, and in advanced cases, foot drop, where lifting the front of your foot when you walk becomes genuinely difficult. Your circulation takes a hit in this position too. Crossing your legs creates a partial restriction in the blood vessels running behind your knee, slowing venous return from the lower leg. For someone already sitting for most of the day, this raises clotting risk in a quiet, incremental way. There is no alarm, it just accumulates. Then there is what it does to your pelvis. One leg over the other tilts your pelvis, rotates your lumbar vertebrae, and forces the muscles along one side of your lower back to compensate for the entire duration. Stand up after an hour, and those muscles have spent 60 minutes memorizing a crooked position. Physiotherapists call this adaptive shortening. Your brain stops registering the asymmetry as a problem because the asymmetry has become the normal. Sitting flat with both feet on the floor feels wrong because your body spent years deciding that tilted was correct. Sit level. Your back will resist for about a week. Then it will stop because it was the resistance that was wrong the whole time. Number 8, mouth breathing. Check right now which way you are breathing. If air is moving through your mouth, you are bypassing a filtration system your body spent millions of years designing. Your nasal passages are lined with tiny hair-like cilia and a layer of mucus that trap dust, pathogens, allergens, and airborne particles before they reach your lungs. Your nose also warms and humidifies incoming air, conditions it for the delicate tissue deeper in your respiratory tract. Your mouth does none of that. It is an emergency intake valve your body designed for sprinting, not for sitting at a desk for 9 hours. The downstream consequences are not small. Air coming in through your mouth is drier, colder, and dirtier than nasal air, and your throat and airway linings respond to that chronic irritation by producing more mucus, which is your body's way of saying the system is overwhelmed. Mouth breathers get more respiratory infections. They snore more. They sleep worse even when total sleep time looks identical. Because mouth breathing during sleep pulls the tongue back, narrows the airway, and keeps the body in a state of low-grade oxygen stress all night. The structural consequences are the ones most people have never heard of. Orthodontists and craniofacial researchers have documented that chronic mouth breathing in adults changes the resting position of the jaw, the tension patterns in the face, and the forward posture of the head. Your jaw is held in position partly by the resting pressure of your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Mouth breathers lose that contact. The jaw drops, the palate narrows slightly over years. The lower third of the face changes shape. This is not a cosmetic footnote. These are slow mechanical changes to bone and soft tissue, driven entirely by where your air is coming from. You are doing it right now, and most people who hear this will check. Correct it for 30 seconds, and then forget entirely. Number 7, chronic mild dehydration. Not the dramatic kind where you are dizzy and your mouth is sandpaper. The ordinary kind. The kind where you had coffee this morning, skipped water until noon, had another coffee, and are now sitting with a mild headache you have attributed to stress or screen time. That is dehydration. Researchers found that losing just 1 to 2% of your body's water content measurably impairs cognitive performance, reaction time, short-term memory, concentration, and the ability to sustain attention on a task. 1 to 2% is not collapse territory. It is a level most office workers maintain for most of the working day without knowing it. Your brain is approximately 75% water by composition. It is suspended in cerebrospinal fluid, reliant on blood plasma for oxygen and glucose delivery, and deeply sensitive to changes in hydration at the cellular level. When fluid drops even slightly, neurons fire less efficiently. Decision-making slows. Mood regulation frays. Scientists found that mildly dehydrated subjects rated tasks as harder, reported higher levels of frustration, and made more errors on attention tests than the same subjects in a hydrated state, doing the same tasks on the same day. The variable was not sleep, not stress, not blood sugar, it was water. The insidious part is that thirst is a lagging indicator. By the time you feel thirsty, you are already at the impairment threshold. Your body's thirst mechanism was calibrated for physical activity, not for sedentary modern life, and it undershoots significantly in low exertion conditions. The people most confident they are drinking enough are frequently the ones most chronically underhydrated, because the symptoms, low-grade headache, mental fog, mild irritability, are so ordinary they have stopped registering as symptoms at all. Number 6, using your phone on the toilet. You already know this is not a great idea, and you are doing it anyway, which means the reason you are doing it is not ignorance. It is just that sitting there without something to look at feels unacceptable. Here is what that decision is costing you. The average phone screen carries 10 times more bacteria per square centimeter than a toilet seat. You set it on the vanity, you carry it to the kitchen, you hand it to your child, you hold it against your face. The toilet is at least cleaned occasionally. Your phone almost certainly is not. The structural problem is what extended toilet time does to your body. Your pelvic floor muscles and the venous tissue around your rectum are not designed to support your weight on an open-seat toilet for prolonged periods. The modern toilet seat, unlike squatting, creates downward pressure on the anorectal region. Sit long enough, repeatedly enough, and the hemorrhoidal tissue, a network of blood vessels and connective tissue, begins to swell, prolapse, and cause the kind of chronic discomfort that makes sitting at a desk its own special experience. Colorectal surgeons find phone use has meaningfully extended average toilet sitting time in the past decade. They are not unhappy about this professionally. The feedback loop closes neatly. You sit longer because you are entertained, the tissue gets irritated, the irritation creates a low-grade urge that sends you back sooner, and your phone is already in your pocket, fully loaded with reasons to stay. Leave it outside. Your gastrointestinal system was engineered to operate on a 30-second timeline. Give it that. Number 5, showering too hot. The temperature that feels like reward after a long day. The one that steams up the mirror immediately and turns your skin red is quietly dismantling the protective system your skin runs on. Your skin's outermost layer maintains what researchers call the acid mantle, a thin, slightly acidic film composed of sebum, sweat, and natural moisturizing factors that regulates pH, repels pathogens, and keeps the skin barrier intact. Hot water strips this film efficiently and completely. Your skin after a very hot shower is not clean in a meaningful health sense. It is temporarily defenseless. Beneath the acid mantle lives your skin microbiome, a dense community of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that coexist with your immune system and contribute to barrier function. Studies found that repeated exposure to hot water disrupts this microbial ecosystem in ways that promote inflammation, increase transepidermal water loss, and raise susceptibility to eczema flares, contact dermatitis, and chronic dryness. The skin responds to the disruption by producing more oil to compensate, which paradoxically makes oily skin worse and triggers more washing, which strips the barrier again. Dermatologists have a phrase for the cycle. They call it the itch, scratch, wash loop. And hot showers are frequently the mechanism that starts it. Think of your skin barrier as a painting that took decades to develop its exact finish. A daily pressure wash removes a layer every time. The painting does not fully restore overnight. Number 4, forward head posture. Your head weighs between 10 and 12 pounds. Hold it directly over your spine as it was designed to sit, and your neck muscles bear that load without much effort. Tilt it forward by 1 inch, the angle most people hold while looking at a phone or a laptop, and the effective load on your cervical spine jumps to approximately 20 pounds. 2 inches forward, 30 pounds. 3 inches, 40 pounds or more. Your neck muscles were not engineered to spend 8 hours a day suspending a 40-pound weight. They are doing it anyway, and they are losing the argument slowly. The discs between your cervical vertebrae are the shock absorbers of your spine. They are filled with a gel-like nucleus that distributes pressure evenly when your head is balanced. Chronic forward head posture compresses the front edges of these discs continuously, a process called anterior disc loading, and over time, the disc material migrates backward toward the spinal cord. This is one of the primary mechanical contributors to cervical disc herniation in people who have never been in an accident and cannot explain why their neck stopped working properly at 43. It did not happen suddenly. The muscles at the back of your neck, the suboccipitals, the upper trapezius, the cervical extensors, spend years in a state of chronic low-grade contraction trying to hold the weight they were handed. They respond the way any overloaded structure does. They shorten, stiffen, and stop registering the tension as abnormal. Physiotherapists call this adaptive shortening. Your brain recalibrates normal to mean painful. Sitting straight feels like effort. Slouching feels like rest. That inversion took years to build, and it does not reverse in a weekend. Number 3, eating while distracted. Your digestive system has 2 operating modes, and it cannot run both at once. The sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, redirects blood toward your muscles and suppresses digestive function because digestion is not the priority when something is chasing you. The parasympathetic system, rest and digest, does the opposite. It increases blood flow to the gut, stimulates enzyme production, and creates the conditions your stomach needs to actually process a meal. Eating in front of a screen keeps your nervous system partially in sympathetic mode. Not full alarm, just enough activation from constant input that the parasympathetic response never fully engages. The downstream effects are not trivial. Incompletely digested food reaches your large intestine in a form your gut bacteria were not expecting. The wrong bacterial populations feed on it and expand. Bloating, irregular motility, and chronic low-grade gut inflammation follow. The kind that does not announce itself dramatically, but alters your gut microbiome composition over months. Researchers found that chronic psychological distraction during meals is associated with reduced gastric acid output, slower gastric emptying, and increased gastrointestinal symptoms, even in people with no diagnosed digestive condition. Your gut does not know you are watching a documentary. It only knows that the conditions for digestion were never fully met. Number 2, tight waistbands. The nerve running directly beside your hip bone on the outer thigh is called the lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. It has one job: transmit sensation from a patch of skin on your outer thigh. Press on it consistently enough, with a waistband, a belt, the top edge of tight trousers, and you develop a condition called neuralgia paresthetica, burning, tingling, and numbness running down the outside of your thigh that appears for no obvious reason and does not respond to stretching or rest because the problem is not muscular. It is compressive. The solution is to stop compressing the nerve. Further up, tight waistbands press into the abdomen and create direct pressure on the vagus nerve's abdominal branches, the primary communication pathway between your gut and your brain. Sustained abdominal compression impairs vagal tone. Impaired vagal tone disrupts the gut-brain signaling loop that regulates motility, hunger, and the parasympathetic response that digestion depends on. You already read what happens when digestion does not get its parasympathetic signal. Now add a physical obstruction to the nerve that sends it. The result is not dramatic. It is a low-grade functional suppression running quietly for years while you assume the problem is something you ate. Number 1, ignoring your stress signals. Not the acute kind, the deadline, the argument, the emergency. Those resolve. The kind worth discussing is the ambient, chronic, low-intensity cortisol your body produces when you are not fully stressed, but also never fully at rest. This is the background noise of modern life, and it is not neutral. Cortisol in chronic low doses suppresses immune function by reducing the activity of lymphocytes and natural killer cells, the frontline responders your body sends against pathogens and aberrant cells. It impairs memory consolidation by interfering with hippocampal function during sleep. It disrupts gut microbiome composition, raises baseline insulin resistance, and gradually degrades the quality of slow-wave sleep, the phase where most physical repair actually happens. The damage is not legible in any single day. There is no moment where it crosses a threshold you can point to. Your body keeps a running tab. The tab does not get forgiven, and it does not reset at the end of the year. Most people will recognize this in themselves and still do nothing, because doing nothing costs nothing in the moment. That is how a slow process survives, not by being invisible, but by being survivable one day at a time. Subscribe if you want to see more.